Record. All right, so good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to see your shining faces. I know it's early and we got our cameras on and we are shining. Miss Tish, you can turn your camera on if you would rather not. That's okay too. You can still participate. Thank you so much for coming. So this is our weekly Wednesday AM meditative writing circle. I started this as sort of my way to be able to share one of the things that's been really important to me as far as my growth and development is concerned, and that's meditation, number one, and the ability to be able to write or journal, to be able to process feelings, emotions, as a way to be able to move forward with my life. And so I do this as a way to be able to share with people, and I do it with for free. And so you can join me on Wednesday AM. If for whatever reason you can't join me, you can also just catch the recording of it. I send it out to people once the recording is over. But yeah, today we're talking about the element of self-love and why that's so important, or why we think it's so important for ourselves. Um, I have a poem that I kind of found by accident after I had chosen the topic for today of self-love. And I'll take a moment to read it if you haven't had a chance to read it. It's a poem called Love After Love, written by the poet Derek Walcott. He's an ancestor now, but he's from the country of St. Lucia. And he's a popular. I've heard his name before. I don't know a lot of his stuff, but I remember when he passed away, it was a big deal for a lot of people in the Caribbean who loved his work. Um, it's called Love After Love, and it's a short one, so I'll just go ahead and read it. It says, "The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arriving at your own door in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, 'Sit here, eat.' You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life." And that's the poem. I think it's a beautiful poem. Um, and I think for a lot of people, what they refer to when they read the poem is sort of like a romantic love, sort of taking back your life after, a love that you thought was probably going to be forever has broken up for some reason. But there's a lot of ways that life just sort of breaks your heart, just life in general, whether it's other people or, you just have incidents in your life where life just kind of breaks your heart. And you kind of learn how to piece your life together, whether it happens immediately or it's something that happened 20 years ago, and then you just sort of realizing how your life sort of skewed off the rails after that particular incident, and you didn't really realize how that happened. But there's a lot of ways that either a romantic love or life in general can sort of break your heart. And so the poet Derek Walcott, he sort of invites us to reacquaint ourselves with ourselves as a part of self-love. I like the way he says, you greet yourself at the door. When you greet someone at the door, you probably put on your best clothes to be able to greet someone else. He says, invite yourself to sit down and to eat. You break bread with yourself. When you have someone come to your house, what do? You clean the house up. Maybe you get some flowers. You set a menu for the other person. You do all these things for the other person. But how often do we do those things for ourselves, either literally or figuratively. We take out the good plates. If you're going out, you might go out to a nice restaurant, make sure that the person is being fed well. But when we're talking about self-love, we sort of, there's so many times in our lives where we forget that. So it's important to be able to ask ourselves, are we going through this much fuss for ourselves, for our own interest, for our own health and well-being? We want to be able to nourish the part of us that was neglected. So that sort of inner stranger that Derek talks about, we need to reacquaint ourselves with ourselves. We can throw away all the old memories and make space for the new you that's staring at you in the mirror. We're making energetic space for the new person that wants to evolve. So I wanted to take a minute if you wanted to, I don't know if you read the poem, if you had thoughts about the poem, did you like the poem? If there's something that you wanted to say, I would be interested in hearing it.
Well, I love the poem because it outlines how I live my life, how I learned to live my life. And, I felt tears rising because it's almost like a celebration of self when you realize that you've crossed that threshold from one life into another. I said to my great grandbaby's mom this weekend, I don't even know how I made some of the choices I made for the person that I understand myself to be now.
Yeah.
But it was important that I made those choices so that I could be who I am today, because I really, really like who I am today. I love who I am today. And I love that I've gotten to the point to share that same message with others, like date yourself, marry yourself if need be, you know what I mean? And enjoy the ride that you are the conductor of. Yeah.
And I love to hear that. I'm always looking for older women to be able to sort of model my life after, especially since my own mother has passed on, and so I'm always looking for that older woman model in my life. And you're one of the women that I always look up to. You look so beautiful. I can't even believe you somebody's great grandma.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And you're out in the community educating people and going places. I love it. I absolutely love it. This is what I look forward to. And I feel better now at the age of 46 than I did when I was 26. And I always look for people who are looking forward, to their life, even as they grow older. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome. And I do have to interject. I can't say it enough that the admiration is mutual. Because I always tell you, I want to be like you when I grow up.
Thank you. Ladies, anything else you wanted to add? No? Okay.
I have something.
Uh-huh.
And
Sure.
it's interesting as I read this. It reminds me of a guy that I dated briefly. But I distinctly remember not liking who I was with him. Like I distinctly remember like I was doing good things for myself, but I was really doing them for him, and I hated that. And that's eventually, it didn't last long, but I remember like I would start eating vegan because he ate vegan. I was like, I don't like that. I started working out because he worked out. And I was like, I don't like that. I was like, okay, let me cut this because I don't like that you are the reason that because I don't. But, it just reminds me that. And then I also remember a time when I would buy flowers every Sunday. And did I get that from you? I don't know. I get a lot of things from you. I started painting because of you. I might have started getting flowers because of you. But That's my reminder. I need to get my flowers on Sunday. So
Oh,
thank you for the reminder.
I do love my flowers. That's my way of celebrating myself. And because I would always wait until like Valentine's Day or my birthday, for some fool to show up and profess his love for me. And it wasn't coming. And it doesn't come until you do it for yourself. It doesn't matter, because the flowers that do show up are not, they're not showing up for the reason that you wanted to. So you celebrate yourself, get the flowers that you want. And I get it every week. Get my own flowers. I don't have to wait till a special holiday. I'm gonna get flowers because it's Tuesday.
What I loved about that poem is it reminds me of when I was graduating from high school, my mom wrote me a letter. And in that letter, one of the pieces of advice that she gave for me was to learn how to be selfish. So, which it took me a long time to understand, like what she meant, because I was like, that's some bad advice, mama. Like, you want me to go into the world, but my mom, she wanted me, especially as a young Black girl with a big heart, to learn how to be for me first, right? To take care of me first, to put my self-care first. And she was trying to tell me at 18, but at 18, I don't think I had the life experiences to get what she was saying, that it's okay for you, Cheryl Denise McJoy, to be selfish, right? And taking care of you first. And actually being selfish is not being selfish. It's about taking care of yourself and about having self-love, right? And my mom was still here with me, but I just think it's amazing that at that young of an age, she was trying to plant those seeds into me. And so I kind of had, and my grandma, like my great grandmother lived a life where she was waited on by the man. They didn't get married because she didn't need to. He took care of her. So I grew up with these women who, like, not saying their lives were easy, but they were showing me how to take care of me. And baby, it's about, you are the woman who makes you the woman, giving me all these pearls of wisdom and advice about self-love, but I wasn't mature enough, hadn't had enough life experiences to connect the dots. And I love that poem because in that short little poem, he connects, he kind of connects the dots of many pieces of advice scattered over a young girl's life. And I love that about like that poem. And I wish that more young girls could have that as a foundation, because it's hard to be a woman. It's more difficult to be a Black woman. But especially in this world trying to survive. And if you don't have the tools to learn how to love yourself and how to have self-care, and as he says, to sit down at the table with yourself, just love yourself, pull that book off the shelf. Girl, look at you. Like, you got all these good memories. Girl, you did that. You are beautiful and kind, whatever else, right? And I wish that more of us could have that inside of us, planted inside of us as young girls. And I think it would make it easier for us as women to love each other. That's all.
Yeah, that's why I remember your mom. She's a beautiful person. I remember her. I remember meeting her. Where were we, in Thailand? Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up memories of your mom and how she raised you. And I do wish that more of us had more of a foundation. I didn't really grow up with that foundation, even though my mother did her absolute best with me. She didn't have that foundation for herself.
Right.
And so part of and I don't have any children of my own. So part of my reason for also doing this is to be able to, to share, tools and resources for people, who need to be able to learn how to do their own sort of self-growth and development, even as an adult. Hello, good morning, Kara. I'm so glad that you're here. I see you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. And I'm so
I'm
glad
glad
you
to
put
be
the
here.
camera
You
on.
all you all look so beautiful, happy, smiley faces. It makes me feel good because I just came to work. So I ran back out here to jump on to,
Oh,
introduce myself, but I might have to go back in.
okay.
And this starts my day off wonderfully because I'm so stressed out and disrespected sometimes that it's wonderful to be around my sisters before I have to go back in there. So thank you all.
All right. Well, Kara, you're very welcome. I'm so glad that this is a safe space for you. You can certainly, when you have time, if you got to jump off, I understand, but when you have time, you can go back and look at the recording. That'll be available for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right. So we read the poem Love After Love by Derek Walcott. It's a poem about self-love, and we were just sharing a few thoughts and ideas about what self-love looks like for us. And so I wanted to take a few moments to go into do a breathing meditation. Just for a few minutes. It's not going to be long. Breathing meditation helps us to be able to just sort of take a moment and sort of we interrupt the moment to be able to calm the body, the nervous system. We get to lower our heart rate, the blood pressure, the state of our brain. And so, Kara, you always talking. You just said you were stressed before the day even got started. You might want to use something like this to be able to support you before you go into work. And it could, over time, if you decide you want to keep up with the meditation, it'll help you to get through the day and perhaps even get you thinking about other ways that you can start your morning so that you can lead a positive life. And so whenever I do meditations online, I cut the video and I take my glasses off. So I invite you to do the same. I don't have any music or anything. At some point, I'll put together music and things for it. But with a breathing meditation, we want to sit up. If you're lying down, you can do that fine. That you can do it lying down as well. And we just sort of want to purposely take a pause. And I like to start from the outward in. And so I pay attention to what is going on around me. I can hear the sounds that are going on around me. There's machines whirring around me. I can hear birds, just the air in general that's moving around. And from there, I sort of move inward to hear what is going on inside of my own body. Where are my thoughts at this moment? Where are my thoughts moving? I'm not necessarily trying to manipulate any of that at the moment. I'm just taking a moment to take notice of where I am. Where am I holding stress in my body? And when I do that, I can sort of start to feel whatever angst is going on in my body start to come down. So if you sort of think about it as a thermometer that's up really high, and as you sit with yourself and you start to feel yourself come down, you can sort of visualize the temperature coming down as your body starts to come down, releasing some of that angst and anxiety that we have sitting in our body. And if you can put your hands over your heart. And when I do that, I always ask my heart to soften itself a little bit. And so my heart starts to stop racing so much. And it starts to regulate by itself. It's not really something that we have to do, that we are doing. It's just sort of something when we pay attention to the moment, this sort of happens naturally. And with the breathing meditation, we're just going to breathe in and out 5 times. It's very simple. And I like to explain that when we are meditating, we're not necessarily looking for any sort of like a magical happening or a magical moment to happen for us. This is just a purposeful moment for us to take notice of what is going on with us. And we can take this practice, because it is a practice, we take this practice with us in other parts of our lives as well. So we'll start our breathing meditation. We breathe in, our hands are still over our heart. We breathe in through the front of the heart. We breathe out through the back of the heart. And if you can imagine, as when you take a breath, you can sort of connect your vision inside of your head, as breath coming in, literally coming in through the front of your heart, and literally vision it going out through the back. So again, we breathe in through the heart. We say, I am worthy. And we breathe out through the back of the heart. We breathe in, I am enough. Breathe out through the back of the heart. We breathe in through the front of the heart. I am love. Breathe out through the back of the heart. Breathe in, I am happy, through the front of the heart. Breathe out through the back of the heart. And then you just sit and you notice how you feel at the moment. How do your shoulders feel? How do your shoulders feel in this moment? Have they relaxed a little bit? Has your heartbeat regulated itself to a slower pace? Have some of the pressure around your ears and your neck, has some of that relieved itself? What about your stomach? Is your stomach allowed to relax a little bit? As you continue to breathe naturally, you just allow yourself a moment to allow a lot of that anxiety to fall to the wayside. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. You can cut your video back on if you'd like. And then how was that experience for you? Did you like it? Did you feel your body sort of come down and relax, or how did that work for you?
It's relaxing,
Relaxing.
grounding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a breathing meditation is quite grounding.
Yeah, I
And
definitely felt settled in my body. I like the in through the front, out through the back.
mhm.
I agree. I like that heart breathing. I've never done that during meditation, and that was divine. It really calms me down. It helps me center more. So I
Good.
appreciate that.
Mhm. I'm glad to hear that, Kara. Thank you. So yeah, breath meditations are quite grounding to help you, sort of feel like when your thoughts are sort of scattered all over the place and you want to be able to bring yourself to back to center. That's something that you can just sort of do on your own. If you're at work, and you're sitting in a cubicle, you don't necessarily need to, it's nice if you can, go someplace private, but if you can't, you can just sort of take 1 to 2 minutes. It's all you need is to be able to breathe by yourself, and nobody needs to know what you're doing, so I like that breathing meditation as a way to be able to help us to ground ourselves. It's a wonderful word. So we can move on to the journaling session. So if you have your notebooks, I have some questions here. And what I like to do is I just take 5 minutes per question for us to be able to write. I have 4, maybe 5 questions. We'll see what we have time for. So question number 1, and I'll put it in, where's the chat? Oh, here it is. I'll put it in the chat so we'll have a record of it. What parts of you do you need to sit with? We read in the poem by Derek Walcott that we need to invite ourselves to sit and eat. So what part of yourself do you need to sit with? As in, what do you need to be reacquainted with as you start to learn how to love yourself again? And this is a process that we do over and over again throughout various parts of our lives. So again, what parts of you do you need to sit with? Right, that was question number one. What parts of you do you need to sit with? We'll just go into question number two. Where in my life am I saying yes when I really need to say no? Where in my life am I saying yes when I really need to be saying no? All right, the next question. What activities um, what activities that you love so much that you lose track of time? The question is, what activities do you love so much that you lose track of time? All right. So we're getting cut. I want to make sure that we end on a high note because I know people need to be able to go and get their get your days started. So if there's anything that you wanted to share from any of the journaling questions, you can read what you have or just sort of summarize what you wrote, or if anything sort of popped up for you that you would like to share, I'd love to hear it.
Um, on the first question,
Mhm.
I'll just read just a little, uh, like what parts of myself do I need to sit with? I said I
Mhm.
need to sit with the part of me that is anxious
Mhm.
and the part that isn't calm, that wounded child that's been hurt, and I need to love her more and be still with her and listen to her and to allow her to just be, to acknowledge that she did the best she could with what she had and let her know that I have it, like from this spot right here, I got it. That part of
Mhm.
me that is like buried so deep that hasn't seen the light of day to be
Mhm.
that needs to be re-resurrected and loved, and to give that part the healing light that only I can give it. Um, that did okay, sorry, I was voice dictating, so some of the words didn't pick up. Said the final frontier of my heart, my soul, and my mind, the final part that I need to the final parts of myself that I need to explore, the most primal parts of me, the most basic, and the parts of me that I at this age still operate from sometimes. That is the part of me where that is where I need to sit and to disconnect any soul ties that reside there.
Beautiful. Thank you. I love that. I like that you use the word, the final frontier.
Yes.
What that sort of comes up for me, I visualize like a closet, like something, just sitting in the back, and we need to just like pull it out of the closet because we just been putting piling stuff on top of it.
Yes.
Little Cheryl is just like saying, "Hey girl, hey, I'm here. You
I'm like,
know,
girl, you all right. Go sit down somewhere. Sit down.
I'm still here. Can you pay me some attention?" So you gotta pull out all the stuff, dust the place, and
Right?
and you sit with her. I love that. Would anyone else care to share what came up for them or whatever, if for any of the questions?
Sure.
Uh, mhm.
I wrote that I wanted to sit with my soul. And I'll just read it very quickly.
Mhm.
My soul and I need to meet daily as I'm called to help others to do the same. We, my soul and I, need to nourish one another for the journey ahead.
Mhm.
Is it well with my soul? Have I forgiven myself for everything? Am I in acceptance mode for the next journey? Because a lot of people have been calling me for bereavement
Mhm.
service.
Yeah.
And so, in order to help others through that, one has to realize one's own death.
Yeah.
And since it's a journey that we all must travel, then I have to sit with myself and make sure that I'm ready
Mhm.
myself. And am I listening to my soul and being guided by the ancient wisdom that springs from the depths of my soul's heart?
Mhm.
So that's what I had to say. The other two questions, the answer is uh, nowhere and writing. It was quick, quick, fast.
Mhm.
I don't, especially 2024, I pledged that is me, 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 me. And
I
writing,
love it.
yeah,
Mhm.
writing, I found myself checking the clock and be, oh my God, I have to get ready. Because time just flew away. So it's
Mhm.
always been writing and always will be.
Mhm. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Kara, you can feel free to share, or you can just continue to listen. That's also fine. One of the things that I said I wanted to reacquaint myself with was my artist self. I live in Mexico, so one of the things that I wanted to come to Mexico was to be able to study their art.
Vibrant colors.
Yes,
And I love your
Mexico.
art. Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
and Mexico has a very they have a beautiful art tradition across, throughout different parts of Mexico. And I just thought, I'm always, every time I travel to someplace new, I'm always looking like, what is the thing that this particular place is here to share with me? And so I came to Mexico because I've always wanted to study art, but never really took the time just because it just didn't feel practical.
Mhm.
And so, I don't want to do things just for the practicality of it anymore.
Mhm. Mhm.
Life life is too precious for us to just sit around and do things that are practical only. I totally get we all need to be able to make money and make a life,
Mhm.
but we also need to make space, for things just and do things just because. And so I want to um be um intentional
Mhm.
about what I'm doing with the rest of my life. And I want to be intentional about the art that I want to study. And it's my intention is not, I want to improve what it is that I'm creating. But my intention is not necessarily to be good or to be honored as being good,
Mhm.
but just to be able to honor myself in my process of learning, what does it mean to be an artist, and what do artists that do this, every day for actual living, what are their lives like? And how can I take some of that and put that into my own life? And I
Mhm.
think Mexico is a really great place to be able to do that. Because and I'm discovering that there's different parts of the country that really love certain types of art. Like some places they do weaving, other places they create, handbags, and then other places are really great with different types of painting. So, I think this is going to be really fun for me to just be able to travel around the country and do that sort of impractical thing that I've
Mhm.
been denying myself. So,
And may I say something
sure.
about Mexico? I
Huh?
found out recently that Mexico was a part of the Underground Railroad. So,
Really?
yes.
I didn't
Uh,
know that.
yeah. Because it was right next to Texas.
Hmm.
It's a documentary that I saw, and this Black female researcher found out by studying the texts in Mexico. We wouldn't find the information here, but it was in Spanish in Mexico. So, yeah. Uh, if you mess around and stumble on that, please, connect with me. And
Hmm. Well,
mhm.
now I need to look for it.
Yeah,
Huh?
there's a
I
couple
need
of
to
places
look for that now.
Yeah.
like the I think Afro Mexican, like was it? There's a couple of places in Mexico where there are like predominantly Black culture. Um,
Hmm.
I- oh my God, so Carolyn, not this Carolyn here, but another Carolyn that was there. She did a couple of things about it in the other Mexpat group.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. I'll need to look for it. And I know, and I'm going to Oaxaca next. There's a population of Afro-Mexicans there. So perhaps, I
Mm.
don't know, perhaps I'll be able to find something there.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other pockets of areas in Mexico that have Afro-Mexican communities.
Ooh.
So I'm always interested and excited to be able to find different parts of the African diaspora, especially after living in Rwanda for a few years,
Mm-hmm.
and having lived in West Africa when I was younger. And so it's always nice to be able to see some parts of
Sure.
But I'm excited to
parts.
experience that journey with you. Yay.
Yes.
Uh-oh, I think we lost Alana.
You froze, Helena. Alana, you froze.
I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
Uh, can hear you, but you froze. Your image is frozen. It's pretty, but you frozen.
Okay, well, I just wanted to go ahead and close up. So thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for your active participation. We will meet again at the same time, 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday morning. And I will send out the replay of this circle
Thank
via
you.
email. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.